Movies with my best friend. Welcome to Movies with My Best Friend Phil, a podcast that's like, whose line is it anyway? Everything is made up and the points we make don't matter. I'm your host, Phil Kessel. I'm joined as always by two of my best friends. One of them is... Oh, who do I choose? Craig. One of them is Craig Norland. Craig.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's great.
That's great.
I'm here. I'm well rested. You guys put me in a freezer for a month.
Yeah. You needed time to cool down. You were getting too heated.
I found a sign out in front that said, "Come see the Iceman." What was that about?
Well, we had to make money while you were gone.
Okay. I understand now.
So it felt like you would understand and let us do it.
Yes. You were right. I would let you do that.
Perfect.
So where's the money?
Well, I already spent it with my other best friend, Will Chodas.
I knew it.
Will, what did we spend that money on?
Well, we actually bought his and her toilets, like the kind that like face each other and are connected, so you can hug each other while you go, or hold each other.
Yeah, for moral support.
Or hold each other.
Yeah.
I mean, that's worth it, though. I mean, I'm glad you guys unfroze me.
Yeah.
Can I use this toilet?
No.
I mean, it's his and hers, not his and hers and hers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it's not their toilet; it's our toilet.
Okay.
So, Phil, what's new with you?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there anything new with me? Am I in a new location? Yes.
Doesn't sound like it. Oh, sorry.
Nope. Oh, I'm in the computer. Yeah. That's a new location for me. I'm in your Spotify.
You sound a lot higher.
Mm-hmm. Like you're a bit elevated, you know?
Yeah, elevated.
Yeah, I am...
intellectually.
Well, no one has ever accused me of that. Listeners, you may remember from the last episode many moons ago. 1 moon?
Probably.
1 moon.
Yeah.
Maybe 1.2 moons, if we're doing the math.
A moon and some change.
A moon and some change. Some moon change. I have moved to Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
So I live there now.
Yeah, so what's interesting is Phil, we actually recorded all of this beforehand because Phil's 2 hours behind us. So Craig and I had to record all of our responses to what we assumed Phil would be saying.
Yeah, it's really good.
Been,
and I think
it's been a real nightmare of an editing job for me
that's definitely
to sync
for
it all
sure,
up.
yeah.
But we because he's 2 hours behind, we're 2 hours ahead. You know how it works.
I definitely do not agree with that. I think that's a ridiculous thing to say.
What? Oh, Phil. Okay, we gotta. Well, I'm assuming that Phil is agreeing with me,
yes.
But I actually don't know for sure.
You'll find out in 2 hours.
I'll find out at some point. I'm assuming Phil now is talking about something boring going on with his life right now, so I'll stop talking.
Yeah.
Now.
So Colorado's hot and it's dry.
So I wasn't wrong.
And it's very sunny. It was 100 degrees today, which was pretty warm.
You live in the Overlook Hotel, right?
You know what? I don't. However, we did drive by it last weekend, or
the Stanley Hotel
weekend before. Yeah, we didn't drive very close. We were just in the town, and you could see it in the distance.
Is it was looming?
A little bit, yeah. It's a little looming. It's not as looming as you'd want.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Shining Hotel, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Now, do they have anything... I'm wondering if this is one of those places that really embraces the movie. If they have stuff about it. Or if they're like, yeah, we don't want people to come here and try to reenact parts of The Shining.
They just have wax figures of everyone from The Shining. Including the weird orgy party.
Yes. That's a very popular room.
Yeah.
They're probably tired of people spilling gallons and gallons of blood to recreate iconic scenes.
They have to confiscate axes at the door.
Yeah, because otherwise they'd just break through the door.
Yes.
They got to confiscate them before the door.
You are not allowed to say, come play with us.
Yes.
In the vicinity of the building.
No twins. No twins allowed.
What about twins who one of them absorbed the other in utero?
Yep. No, none of those.
Oh,
yeah, that's too close. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'm not going to go check that out.
Okay.
Also, Jack is a twin, so we definitely can't go.
Oh,
that's
man.
sort of a bummer.
Yeah.
So that's new with me. Craig, where have you? Well, no, I guess we already went over. You've been frozen for the last month. Did you have any dreams while you were in there?
I had a very vivid dream of going to. Where did I go in my dreams? I did go to St. Joseph, Michigan.
Yes.
It's
the hospital.
Yes, the hospital, because I was frozen for a month. You sons of bitches. No, I went to...
And he's still frosty about it.
Yeah.
Hey-o.
Southwest side of the state, like really close to the border. And very cool place. I haven't been there before. It's I didn't realize how close it was to South Haven. So we drove up there for a day, but it was beaches and nice weather and lighthouses, and they have a really cool carousel and all the stuff that was part of the wedding. They rented out the carousel with all the memorabilia from the old amusement park that used to be there in the early 1900s. So I thought that was cool in my dreams.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that does sound fun. Will?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't go gallivanting anywhere or go on any vacations because I spend all my time and money on a stupid podcast that I do with my friends. So I can't afford to. So I mean, incidentally, Patreon.com/mumbleandshrug is where you can go to get all your good Mumble and Shrug content. Is that a good place for a plug? Did that feel appropriate?
Yeah. No. Totally.
Will came back extra salty.
Yes. Because I was frozen in salt. Never mind. No.
There's
didn't
something
work.
there.
Made into jerky, maybe? How would that? No. Anywho.
A reverse sauna.
That's right. So listeners may notice that we're doing things a little bit differently. And this is my fault. It's slightly Phil's fault, but I'm using
I would say it's more my fault.
I'm using Phil's move as an excuse because I actually wanted to do this months and months and months ago. Couldn't figure out how to do it. So anyways, we're going to bi-weekly, which means every other month?
Not twice a week. Every other week.
No. Yes, bi-weekly. Yeah, whatever. Bi-monthly? We're doing both bi-monthly and bi-weekly. I hate the English language.
Is that? I feel like, oh man, that gets me so mixed up. I think bi-weekly is twice a week.
But isn't bi-monthly both twice a month and every other month?
Oh God, just say we're going to have an episode every 2 weeks.
If somebody knows the answer to this, I'm not going to Google this. Yeah. I'm not going to waste my time with that.
Our computers are way too far away.
Send me the answer. Is bi-weekly twice a week or every other week?
Yeah.
Because I know there's biannually and biennially.
Well,
and one of those is twice a year and one of those is every other year, and I don't know which one is which. But is there another word for bi? This is so uninteresting.
I feel like
I'm so sorry.
Semi-annual would be something that takes place every other year.
Wait.
Semi-weekly.
Semi-weekly.
So every other Thursday, you'll get a podcast in your podcasting device from us. We're not going to do
podcasting envelope.
Yes, we're not doing the whole month thing anymore either. Maybe that might come back, like sort of theme stuff. But for now, we're just doing random movies that we want to watch. So we're gonna get rid of the themed months because we're just gonna do movies. And part of that is. Like, I'm kind of sad to see it go because it was fun, but, like, a lot of times we were just sort of, like, scraping the bottom of a barrel when it came to movies. Or, like, we'd, like, pick...
What's a fourth movie I can put with these other three I actually wanted to watch?
Right, or we'd sit there and go, like, hey, I want to watch, all the Wes Anderson movies. And it's like, or rather, 4 Wes Anderson movies, So...
Yeah.
So now we're just going to pick random movies, and maybe we'll go back to doing, like, themes at some point, probably during Christmas time and other things like that. But so that's what's going on with me is this podcast, because apparently that's all my life is this podcast. So that's fun.
Well, now that we're back to recording, that's all I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it at work.
Yeah. At your new swanky
I'm just kidding.
job.
I think my internet at home is better than the internet at work.
Really?
Yeah, we have fiber in the apartment. It was already like wired for fiber. I mean, my office might have it too, but I don't think they want me to record a podcast in my cubicle. Although I have not asked. So it is possible that they would be fine with it.
Honestly, you should tell them that you have, let the marketing department know that you have a podcast, and they might be like, Phil, can you do our company's podcast? Because companies are doing podcasts.
Oh my gosh.
Our special guest, yet again, is Bill from accounting.
When you account
Tell me
for
about
all the
accounting.
Yeah.
Run the numbers for me, Bill.
No, don't tell them that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'll tell them I have a podcast if it comes up. I'm too scared to let them see this side of me.
You mean the normal side?
They only know me as straight-laced, normal Phil that doesn't have a calendar of monsters inside of national parks on his cubicle wall.
How long, this might not, because Will, I know you and Caitlin knew each other for a long time, but how long were you normal? You tried to be as normal as possible around your significant other before they realized that you're an insane person?
Oh, I feel like it was right from the get-go. So I think the thing that I didn't hide being weird. I hid being really picky about food.
Yeah, you've mentioned this before, I think. I don't know if on the pod.
Yeah. I don't know. We would go on dates and I would be too scared to order what I wanted to order, so I'd order something cooler. And then it turns out I liked those things.
Do you have an example of something that's cool?
I mean, not
I'd like
the
the hot dog
tongue.
with extra mustard. Please and thank you.
Whoa.
Don't be shy with
that.
those buns, buddy. Oh, she left. Okay.
Oh, darn it. No, just like restaurants that I know. I mean, I was a pizza and chicken tenders. I was going to say pizza and chicken tenders kid, but I was also a pizza and chicken tenders adult for a very long time.
Yeah.
And then realized I like other food because I had to pretend that I liked other food because I was scared of being lame.
So I'm glad your fear led you to be a more adventurous food eater.
Now I'm super into weird food.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about super into weird food. I do really want to try Rocky Mountain oysters, but I cannot get Jack to sign off on it.
I mean, you could go get them yourself.
I mean, I'm not going to go without her. I'm not going to get them myself. Somebody else has to eat them with me. I'm too scared.
Yeah, because you know what they say.
It's balls.
Eating testicles is a husband and wife affair. That's the Colorado saying, right?
His and hers bull testicles.
There you go. Go with the toilet.
All right, Will, what about you?
I have no idea. No, none. No, Kayla.
I mean,
yeah, I met.
You've known her since 6th grade.
I've known Kayla
There's no way you could hide it.
There was immediate. There was no hiding. It was it's actually a big problem because she'll be like, "Oh, I remember when you did this." I'm like, "Stop remembering things that 16-year-old me said and saying that it's like a tent pole to my personality." I don't believe that anymore.
Yeah.
What about you,
Wait,
Greg?
how old were you when you started playing Kingdom Hearts?
6th grade. She knew.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
there's nothing.
No, I was just thinking like that is a tent pole.
No, wait. I think it was
Will.
7th grade is when Kingdom Hearts came out, and I played.
I think so. That feels right. I feel like I remember because if I remember correctly, and correct me if I am not remembering correctly, I think Brad had the game, and you both liked it, and we all made fun of you. But I wasn't making fun of you. I just wasn't stopping other people because I also wanted to play it.
You're very brave, Phil.
I don't remember people making
no,
fun
I'm
of me, but I also remember being made fun of a lot. So there is a good chance
There's probably overlap,
and I just sort of ignored it. Well, we also had a group of friends that was like, "You showed vulnerability. I'm going to pounce on that and exploit it for the next 6 years." And it'd just be like, "Hey, so this is a toxic relationship?"
Isn't that how friendship works?
No, turns out no.
Oh,
Which was such a wonderful thing to discover.
Interesting.
Yeah, you don't have to be cruel constantly. Wow. Anywho.
Never would have guessed. Craig, did you were you a hider? Were you a shower?
Or a not shower?
So I was normal for probably like maybe a month because we met in at Washtenaw Community College. We had one class together, and then about a year later, we met back up. We had a teacher like conference thing, and then we started meeting for lunch at EMU, and so I was pretty normal. And then I think I just let it slip after like a month. It's just like I was bursting at the seams with weirdness. So
see, now what we need is Veronica to confirm or deny this.
Oh, she would. We've talked about this before. She thought I was very normal for a very short amount of time.
Okay. I played a weird gig at Washtenaw Community College, just in like the main, like it wasn't like a gym. It was just like the gathering space of one of the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And I played with like a small jazz group, and I thought it was not something relatively fancy, and so I'm pretty sure I showed up in like probably a button down, but I was probably also wearing jeans and like tennis shoes. And everyone was wearing like a shirt and a tie, and I just felt like a total asshole.
Oh no.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, that's
super respectful.
That's like back in the day when I'd be like, "Oh," like someone would tell me about an event, and they'd be like, "Oh, by the way, it's business casual," and I'd be like, "Oh, awesome." And then I'd hang up the phone and be like,
"Which business?"
I was going to say, "What the is business casual?" You know, it's like, do I dress like I'm going like I work at McDonald's? What do we do? Yeah, which business?
When I came out here in April for like my first week for like training and stuff, the first 2 days I wore like slacks and a button down tucked in, and I was like dressed relatively classic business casual.
Mm-hmm.
But it was only those 2 days, and then I realized there were other people wearing jeans, and I immediately started wearing jeans.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You haven't earned jeans yet, Phil."
You son of a bitch, you gotta earn those jeans.
Take them off now.
I don't think I own a single pair of slacks anymore.
Good for you,
I have
Will.
like 6 pairs. I just like wearing jeans. Is it so wrong to like wearing jeans?
Yes, it is, Phil. You should feel ashamed.
I like the denim against my bod.
What about George?
Now you really should feel ashamed because you said that.
I feel nothing.
Come on, are you Catholic, aren't you? Come on. So we haven't sat down and recorded in a while, so I have a question for both you guys, and you can take it in any order you want.
Okay.
We'll take it.
But what's in your trousers? Was that what it was? Was that what it was called?
Yeah, I think so. It was What Is in Your Trousers.
What
was
is in
the
your
name
trousers?
of the segment.
Do you got a snake in there for me?
Yeah.
God damn it. All right, I'll talk about my trousers. Will, if that's what you really want.
I mean, it's all I've ever wanted.
I literally was just talking about pants, so...
In this case, they're Jinko jeans.
Yes,
so
as they should.
Oh, man, you
be.
could fit so many snakes in those.
Oh, man, so many.
Anacondas.
Don't want none.
Reticulated pythons.
So we haven't actually done one of these in a long time, and so I probably have like 15 recommendations, but because
we should have done like a top 10.
I know. Because I'm me, I forgot all of them, and I'm going to just do the most recent thing that happened to me.
Perfect.
Yep. So I watched Heat, directed by Michael Mann, who also did
I'm going to put that on my list.
Manhunter and one of my favorite movies, Collateral.
Did he do Thief, or is that somebody else?
No, that's him.
Okay. I really liked that.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the movies that I've seen of his all kind of fit into the same mold. I just happen to like that mold a lot. Yeah, 1995, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Val Kilmer, a bunch of...
Apple Chino.
Danny Trejo, a bunch of people that, like Tom Sizemore, William Fichtner, a lot of people that you're like, hey, I know that guy, but what the hell's his name? A lot of that kind of stuff going on. But I remember getting interested in the movie first because they were saying that The Dark Knight was inspired by it. And I can see that to an effect. It's mostly like the setting, like Gotham being like the same kind of feel as this kind of grimy Los Angeles. But yeah, the plot, it's too complicated to get into, but it's Robert De Niro being Robert De Niro, not like, I'd say post 2000s where he kind of took anything. So before
he might have said yes one too many times.
Yeah. Sorry, De Niro. But Al Pacino is unhinged, which is great. Something happened in the early 90s where he just decided to go big and everything, and this is not an exception.
I know this is one where like the not myth, but the like the legend, the folklore is that police academies or military academies will use the end gun fight scene, the shootout scene, as like in part as a training exercise or as an example at least of like there's a specific maneuver that they do, I guess, that is very...
Val Kilmer does some. I don't remember what it was, but I was reading about it. Yeah, something he does. Yeah. And then a lot of stuff they do is based off of things that criminals did, like shooting through the windshield and just the way that Val Kilmer loaded his weapon. And it was about retreating, how to, do covering fire while you're retreating.
The tactics, I think, is what I've heard is like a huge thing that is just like really impressively done. I feel like sometimes when they do those things when it's like, oh, this is so realistic, this is the actual way they do it, it like turns out boring, but apparently this is like,
oh no, it's
also
still
super, super entertaining and wonderful. I have not seen it. It's been on my list for a very long time.
It's got that quality too of, and I know this is just sound engineering, when you watch movies where people are outside and they're shooting at each other with guns and everything just sounds the same. But in this movie, they're in the city, and when they're shooting, it has that kind of big hollow sound to it. So you can tell that the sound is bouncing off tall buildings. It's that kind of feel to it. So cool. It's definitely some differences there. Just some of your other action movies, but the very short thing is Robert De Niro is the thief, and then Al Pacino's the cop who's trying to catch him, and kind of a cat and mouse situation. It is almost 3 hours long, so you kind of have to have a night to watch it. So, but I highly recommend it.
Nice. Will, to answer your question, I'm also going to go with the most recent thing.
Okay.
Which is the movie Fresh with Sebastian Stan, who we will know from the wonderful movie we watched with the Witch Boys, Covenant.
Gosh.
Right.
Our collective favorite movie. And Daisy Edgar Jones and a couple other people. I honestly didn't really know hardly anyone in this movie.
By the way, these two recommendations are like the last two texts in my phone from you guys, which was I saw Fresh. Oh, I just saw Heat.
Yep.
This was like yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've heard stuff about this movie, and I feel like, is it gross? Is this movie gross?
It is. It's so strange because it's like, it does such a good job of being gross without being like gory. There's like some slightly gory things in it, but it is more like conceptual and it's more so. This really isn't ruining anything. The like tag for the movie is about like, oh, she meets a man with strange appetites. It's cannibalism.
Yeah.
He eats people. So they do such a, I'm going to say good job, which is weird to say about making a movie about cannibalism, making it feel like truly disturbing without being really, really grotesque. It's not a movie for kids. It's not a movie for anyone with a weak stomach. It's still, I was watching it and I was like, I know this is good, but I'm uncomfortable and I don't know if I want to finish this movie because I'm really, really just disturbed. But it's good. So the movie I'd absolutely recommend. I also just really like seeing Marvel people succeed in movies outside of Marvel with the specific asterisk that they are playing very against what they were playing in Marvel. So we also watched, this is going to be a twofer, The Gray Man. Did you guys watch that? It's on Netflix. It's okay. There's a lot in it that I really liked. They did a lot of drone filming, which I feel like could be really cheap and cheesy and dumb and maybe not just feel too different. But I actually kind of really liked it. It made for some really interesting, like, long shots where, like, you'd need a crane and, like, a car to drive that crane that you could only do with a drone. But Chris Evans is in that. And he plays very against Captain America, and he does a fantastic job in it. I mean, he is that movie.
Both Chris Evans and Sebastian Stan are very versatile actors. They've done a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I know. It's just like anytime I see any of them who really, and it's not even Marvel, that's just like the biggest pool to grab from. But like anyone who gets maybe not typecast, but like they play the hero for so long, I always like seeing them stretch in like a villain role. Yeah, right. Because sometimes, I mean, we all enjoy Marvel to whatever extent we enjoy Marvel, but it's not always like an exercise. No, there's in acting.
No one's like, high level actors like super like actory actors are like, I can't wait to get that beautifully
that Marvel
complex Marvel part where I get to play a character unlike anything we've ever seen before. No, it's always just people going like, I need to get my name back out there in the world and also make $1 million. Can you please get me a meeting with Kevin Feige? Thanks. Yeah. All right, which one am I doing? I'm doing Moon Knight. The is that? Sure, whatever.
How dare you talk about Moon Knight?
Nobody knows who Moon Knight was before that came out other than you.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I just like seeing them in other things. I like seeing them, like Sebastian Stan in this movie is charmingly creepy. He does it really good. It was a good movie. It was a very disturbing movie. So if you were in the mood for a very disturbing movie, this will whet your whistle.
Oh. Hated the way you said that.
I feel like that's maybe not the right way to.
Hated it.
Anyways,
There's
go
a little
see.
taste of what the movie will feel like.
Yeah. Only much less cheap feeling. It was good. It was great. It's on Hulu. So stream it or don't. I don't care. Will, do you have anything in your trouser?
Well, unfortunately, I lost all my snakes, but
no,
I do have a video game that I played on the Switch, but it is available for
Kingdom Hearts.
It is not Kingdom Hearts. It's called
dang it.
Spiritfarer. So this is like a
Sounds
little
cool.
Yeah, it's like a little indie game. It is relatively short. It's a game where you play as a character named. It came out like 2 years ago, so it's new. It's all hand drawn, and you play as Stella, who is taking over for, I don't know how to say his name, Chiron, the guy who the River Styx guy.
Oh,
Sharon, maybe.
Sharon. I've heard it a million ways.
Yeah. So she's taking over for Karen. So or Karen. It's definitely
Karen.
not Karen.
I feel like it's definitely Karen.
You're being a real Karen right now.
So anyway,
stop ferrying me across the river Styx, Karen.
Yeah. So you play as this young lady and her cat Daffodil, and you have a boat. It is basically, if you took Stardew Valley, kind of simplified it quite a bit, made it much more not pixel art, hand drawn, and put it on a boat. So it's got management elements to it. So it's like, you grow crops and you build houses for people and you fill it with stuff that they like, et cetera, et cetera. But everyone that you meet is somebody who has recently died. And they're all like embodied by like spirit animals. So you meet like a deer and it's very cute, and there's no combat in it, but it has difficult sort of like little like mini games where you run around and grab stuff. So it's like, but it's just really sweet and slow, and it's a great story about death and like moving on. And
that sounds really good.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. Really, I got really into it. And what's also nice about it is a lot of like sort of management type games. What's happening right now?
Karen.
It is Karen.
I knew it.
Okay. Anywho, just for the listener, Phil just did like one of those like, how do you pronounce things? And just shared his screen without any heads up to either Craig and I.
No consent.
Yeah. Typical Phil.
Yep.
I forgot what I was saying, but
you were talking about the game.
It is managed. Some of those like Stardew Valley and like Harvest Moon type games, and even like Minecraft, like kind of like go on forever, and you can like basically keep building up your buildings to infinity or whatever. But this one ends. It's short for a management game. It's only about 30 hours. So you get to the end and you save. You don't save people, but you ferry them across, and then they're gone. So that was also what was nice about it. It was like, I don't feel like I abandoned this game. Like so many games are just like I've like left on the side of the road in a box. Just like all on its own. Like the poor Guardians of the Galaxy game, which I played for like 15 minutes, said I really, really like this, and then never picked up again. It's just
oh no,
on the side of the road. Like, why? We had such fun. Why'd you get rid of me? Now who knows where I'm going after this? Anyway, Spiritfarer, check it out. That's it.
Nice. Well, it sounds like we got a whole lot of good stuff in our trousers.
Yeah, we do. Oh man, my trousers feel real full.
Speaking of trousers, clown trousers to be exact.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's get this sushi out of the sun and get to it.
What? Was that from the movie?
Yeah.
All right.
See, we watched this way too early.
So we watched Shakes the Clown. Finally, everyone's like, "Oh, finally! We've been waiting for these guys. We needed Will's hot takes on Shakes the Clown and Pogo the Clown. I don't remember any of the characters' name. Anyway, Shakes the Clown. Binky.
Yeah.
Sorry. Shakes the Clown is a 1991 American black comedy film directed and written by Bobcat Goldthwait, who performs the title role. It also features Julie Brown, Blake Clark, Paul Dooley, Kathy Griffin, Florence Henderson, Tom Kenny, Adam Sandler, Jack Gallagher, and a small cameo by Robin Williams as Mime Jerry. Using the pseudonym in the credits, he goes by Marty Fromage. So it's 87 minutes long, which is about 60 minutes too long. $1.4 million budget. It made... Can you guys guess how much this movie made?
I want to say like $68.
Okay.
It's like it's like 111,000.
Yeah, it's $115,000.
Oof. That feels right.
That
feels
is
right.
No money. I forgot to look up the Rotten Tomato thing, so I'm going to do that right now. Because we haven't done this in a while, and I kind of forgot that I had this whole thing that I do. Probably going to cut this out. Who knows? Maybe I'll leave it in. All right. So, what would you say this movie did on Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh my gosh, this is one of those ones where, because if it was when it came out, it's probably like a 15%. But people, I think, have kind of come back around on this one. So I'm going to go with like a 45%.
If this is more than 6%, that's a crime.
All right. Shakes the Clown is going to jail because he got 43. Craig was real close. Yeah, 43 with the audience score of 49%.
Whoa.
Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm sorry, Phil.
I still have more stuff I have to say. Okay. Other movies that came out. Top grossing domestic box office movies. Number 10, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. Naked Gun 2.5, The Smell of Fear. The Addams Family. Sleeping with the Enemy. Dances with Wolves. City Slickers. The Silence of the Lambs. Home Alone. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. And number 1, Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
It's fair to say
when did this come out?
1991. There
92.
were a lot better choices of movie to see in theaters.
Wait, what did Craig say? Craig, what did you say?
When did this movie come out?
1991.
91.
March 13th, 1992.
What's that?
And 91 it was like they had a premiere in Boston.
Oh.
And so it didn't get a semi wide release until March of the next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out why Home Alone would have been on there, because Home Alone's from 1990, and I thought maybe it was a holdover from Christmas or something.
Yeah. Well, everything I'm seeing says 1991, but probably because premiered at like one theater, because this probably never got a very wide release.
No. Well, Home Alone was November of 1990, so it must have been 1991 is when the box office was going off of. Anyway. So this movie...
So I picked this movie because I am somebody who really likes comedy, but I find I mostly like people talking about comedy, and so like I listen to Comedy Bang Bang, and a lot of the guys on Comedy Bang Bang, every once in a while, like you'll just hear, and Shakes the Clown as like what got them into comedy, you know? So I was aware of this movie for a really long time, and then I thought it would be funny if I did Bobcat Goldthwait month, because Bobcat Goldthwait, aside from his illustrious stand-up and acting career, is a writer-director. But then we got rid of the month stuff, and then I was like, well, we could just watch Shakes the Clown, because that's the only one I really want to see. And so we did. And that's my fault. So I watched this with Craig. I went over to his house. We watched it. So I got an idea of how he felt of the movie. So I'm curious, Phil, how do you feel about this movie?
You told me once that we were supposed to start with positives.
Yes, I did.
Okay. I laughed at the so there's a part at the beginning where they're at a child's birthday party, and you can hear the mom at one point say, "Oh, let's get this sushi out of the sun." And I thought that was really genuinely funny for so many reasons. Because why do you have the sushi out in the sun in the first place? Why do you have sushi at a child's birthday party? It's just like that. That was funny.
Yeah.
So I said something positive.
That's all you got. Okay, Craig, what do you...
Okay, so I kind of came around a little bit on this movie as it was sitting in my head. Yeah. I think if I watched... But yeah, it's been a week since I watched this movie.
Yeah, we watched it a while ago.
I think I forgot all the really disgusting stuff that happens, because this is a really gross movie at times.
So that was one of my biggest notes, is I'm like, this movie is difficult to look at. This movie is because everyone is wearing clown makeup the whole time. So like their faces are like just sort of like distorted the whole time. So after a while, you're just sort of like, do I not remember what a human face looks like? Like, because everyone in this is wild looking. And then of course there's a bunch of like vomit and other nasty things. But
well, should we give a quick rundown of the plot before we get into specific stuff?
I mean,
yeah. Do you want to start at the beginning of the movie, or do you want to start an hour in when the plot starts?
Let's do the hour. Okay. Well, Shakes the Clown is the story of an alcoholic clown named Shakes the Clown, aptly titled, who is about to get fired for being too much of a drunk. And so his boss says, you got to sober up. So he sobers up for one day, can't handle it, goes on a bender. And when he's on his bender, he wakes up. And, he basically gets framed for the murder of his boss by rival clown Binky, played by Kenny, who, if those of you don't know, Tom Kenny is the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants. And honestly, a delight in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the only person who I went like, you're actually acting. Wowee.
Okay, so that is the basic gist of this movie. Things I enjoyed. Like you said, Tom Kenny is really funny in this movie when he lets loose, because at the beginning he's pretty subdued, but then when he turns like full evil.
Yeah, and he's like, wait, did I say that out loud? Oh, I gotta kill you now. That part was like, okay, that was funny.
So I liked him in this. The Robin Williams part was so funny. That whole thing. Because he just ad-libbed it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams and Bobcat Goldthwait, I don't know, at this point we're best friends, but at some point in their lives we're close, like super best friends. Very good close friends.
But otherwise, the general... Like, they live in Palookaville, and the whole notion that there's this, like, ecosystem of competing clowns, because you have mimes, you have rodeo clowns, you have, like, birthday party clowns, and they all fucking hate each other.
Yeah, they all, like... So that, to me, this movie is weird, because it is the best student film I've ever seen. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the vibes I got off of this movie. Was that, and I kind of knew that coming in, and I maybe should have prepped you guys, but I wasn't, having not actually seen it before, I didn't like quite know that would be the right thing to say.
Right.
But yeah, like, because I have a lot of affection kind of for the, not because I've seen it before, but just because I can tell that this is exactly the movie that Bobcat Goldthwait wanted to make. He just wasn't talented enough to make it at the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, because a lot of the dialogue is good for like a few lines, but it's performed badly, and a lot
of the reviews were basically said it sounded like they didn't rehearse their lines enough.
Yeah. It was just...
for sure.
Well, right. And also, like, the motivation, someone would say something, and then someone would react with completely different energy. And sometimes they would do that for absurdist reasoning, but other times they just do it, and you'd be like, was that supposed to be a joke? What was that? Like they didn't understand the motivation of the line, because I don't think Bobcat Goldthwait knew how to direct.
Right.
Because this is his first movie and he's stand-up comedian. He's not a director yet, So this, like, I kept going, like, I loved this, but this is bad. This is a bad version of something that I feel like I should really like.
Mm-hmm. But
it is also, like, I think Craig immediately was like, this looks like an episode of Malcolm in the Middle. Yeah, because it like is lit really badly. And, like, at one point they were, like, driving in their car. And we're just, like, counting the number of times we've seen the same building that they're driving past. It's like, there it is again. There it is again. Because they just clearly only had, like, one small area. So,
but I can see how people who are just getting into comedy or, like, they're part of that group can appreciate this movie or, like, glean out the really... Because I think there are some things that are directed specifically at people who are in that scene, because he's just using this as a stand-in for how cliquey and combative being a stand-up comedian can be.
It's a whole movie about being a stand-up and how, like, the stand-up comedians don't like the improv guys and the improv guys don't like the real actors and the real actors don't like the stand-ups, et cetera, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff. But I also think the other reason why this movie has such, like, a cult following is because, like, you have to consider that it came out in 1991, and we live in a very, it feels like we live in a homogenous society, but, like, you can get access to, like, any movie you want. Like that's why, like, I love music, but I don't tell people I'm a music person because I have no idea what's popular. I have no idea what's out because I only listen to the stuff that I like, but I listen to it a lot, but, like, so, like, just, like, imagine seeing this movie and you're, like, you want to be a comedian and you are so sick of seeing, like, in the big theater, you see these movies that are all, like, I don't know, like My Dad Turned Into a Dog type movie because it's the 90s, and you're like, everyone grows up and just or like SNL skits are the only movies out there and you want to see something really weird and funny. And then people are passing around a VHS copy of something called Shakes the Clown. And you, like, put it in, and it's this nonsense. I feel like you would covet that. You'd be like, what? What is this? Because no one was making movies like that. Because for good reason no one made movies like that. Because they made $100,000.
It's funny you mention, like, SNL skits. Because I kind of, throughout this movie, felt like this was, like, I reacted to this how I react to SNL, which is I don't like it, and I feel like it's a group that have not been a part of.
Right.
And they made a movie, and then I'm now watching it, and it's like all these in-jokes that I don't get.
Yeah.
And I feel alienated. So to me, this kind of felt entirely the same, where I was watching it, and I was like, I nothing
these
every single second of this movie, and I hate this.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. As I was watching this, I was like, ooh, this is an error, because this is not good. Like, I like feeling Craig just next to me going like, ugh, huh. I'm like, oh no. And, like, even myself, I'm like, I because this is the movie I picked, I feel the urge to, like, defend it, but I'm like, I definitely am not. I got nothing. I got nothing, guys. Like, because the other thing that I feel like, it's funny you mentioned SNL movies. It's the plot of this movie felt like an SNL movie, which is to say that, like, all, like, SNL type movies, all those, like, comedy movies have such a basic, boring plot to them that they all just feel like hollow, empty, bad movies. Because it's always like they got to do, like, and this movie has a basic, boring plot where he's like, he's framed for murder, He's got to get his name, and then in the end, like, there's even, like, a cartoonish, like, Batman moment where he, like, saves her from being killed on television. Like, that's exactly like from Adam West's Batman, And I kind of felt myself being disappointed in that because I was like, oh, I kind of wish that this had just, like, spent more time in the alcoholistic, nature of it all, not just, like, turned into like a basic like, oh, you're framed for murder. I got to clear my name, you know?
Yeah.
It did feel like a proto, and I think I mentioned this when we were watching it, but like a Bad Santa before Bad Santa.
Yeah, right. Yes. But it also like didn't say anything. Like I almost wanted it to say something darker. You know what I mean? Like I wanted it to really I wanted it to say something as well, and it didn't say anything really.
I guess maybe that's another thing I was very disappointed in is because the little bit I hadn't like looked up the plot or anything, but the things I had seen, and I think you mentioned this when we were hanging out last week, is like this. People have said this is like a really good, like they handle the subject of alcoholism well or interesting or something.
Yeah.
And I just didn't feel, and maybe it's because this is from 1991.
Yeah.
I just didn't really feel like it was an interesting handling or a particularly like good. I feel like it was half there. I feel like most of this movie was half there.
No, this movie's not even half there. It's a
Stouffer's lasagna that your mom takes out halfway through the cooking time, and you have to eat it anyways.
Yeah, and it's when you go over to your friend's house and you're like, my mom's a really good cook. She makes authentic Italian, and then it's a half frozen Stouffer's lasagna, and you're like, this is all wrong.
Yes.
Why would you serve this to me?
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, but that's kind of why, again, like I have affection for it because I like can feel it has a lot of good ideas in it, and like I'm giving it a ton of credit because of that. But it's dog. It's a dog movie. I would tell nobody to watch this.
I still think there are some funny parts in this.
Oh, it definitely has funny parts. Like that's even a lot of the ideas, like the idea that they like want to beat up mimes every time they see him. That's funny. Like. I don't know. Yeah. It's weird. I like weird like world building, and this is a
I
weird
will absolutely
world.
give it. Yeah, I will absolutely give it that. Like he came up with an interesting world.
Yes,
but it was told to me like a drunk friend at a party.
Right,
and you only gathered one sentence, and you were like, yeah, okay, I guess, but the rest of what you said didn't really match in tone or in of comprehensive language.
So about the alcoholism, though, what I think it got praised for is so many movies just show alcoholism like somebody drinking as a consequence-less act. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially comedy movies, you know, Animal House, they just are constantly all drinking all the time and all this stuff, you know, and it's like party. And this was one of those movies where it was like, he's losing his job because he's drinking too much, and then he like goes into it. Actually showed somebody go into withdrawal, you know, and in a movie that's not a drama about alcoholism, you know, it's about a clown, you know.
Okay,
so
that's fair.
I think that's the context for which it gets praise. But yeah, I thought it was going to be much more about that because that's what I read as well. And it was like, yeah, he's an alcoholic. But actually there's a murder, so let's just do that instead, you know.
I mean, we should have known what we're getting into because it opens with him sleeping with Mrs. Brady.
Yes, I didn't realize that was her until later when I read it. Yeah.
It kind of opens with a child
urinating
peeing on his head.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which is... Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be a winner if that's how you open the movie.
Another thing I liked is that he is like preternaturally a really good clown.
He's a very good clown.
That's the fun part too as well. He's got supernatural abilities. Like he like jumps up the side of a building in one leap. It's just weird. Yeah. But yeah, no, I just love also like the whole like all of them. Like there's like a clown bar where all the clowns go after work in their makeup still, you know, and like even there's like that one conversation. There's like two guys at the gas pump. He's like, I remember when this town didn't have any clowns in it.
Yeah,
you know, that kind of stuff was always endlessly funny to me. But
what was the bar called?
Ooh,
it was like the Twisted balloon animal or something.
The Twisted Sister.
Yeah, it was something
Yes.
like the Twisted Balloon.
Oh,
or something.
the Twisted Balloon.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember? So this is something I've seen on the internet a lot. Cartoon pizza.
Yeah.
When you see pizza drawn and animated like in a cartoon, it always looks so good.
Oh, it always looks partially liquid.
Yeah. So like a Goofy movie,
Yeah.
the pizza at the end is just like the stretchiest cheese and it looks great. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I feel like the pizza looks like I wanted to eat that pizza. This movie showed me the farthest thing from that. Do you remember when she has a slice of pizza on a plate that is literally sitting in a pool of grease that is about a 1/4 inch deep?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was eating pizza while watching this movie.
Oh no.
And I didn't stop eating it because it's pizza. Let's get real. But I almost was
Phil's
I don't
never
think I
met a
can eat
pizza
this.
he didn't like.
I did now.
Yeah, no, that part I thought
it was the grossest thing in the movie for me.
See, that to me, that was one of those moments where I was like, this I think this is pretty funny. Like, just the idea that she's handed this piece of pizza that's just like covered in nasty grease, and she's just like, and what I liked about it is the joke was just purely visual. It was incredibly relatable, and nobody talked about it. Do you know what I mean?
They didn't even
like it wasn't
take notice of it.
It was barely. It was in the scene. You were aware of it, but it wasn't like it wasn't like, look at this greasy pizza. Oh, it's so greasy. Let's slap it on somebody's face. You know, that to me kind of like showed like where I went like, God, I feel like this movie could be really good if only it was better. Which is an
if only
insane,
it wasn't so bad.
I want this to be a good movie. Anyways. Yeah. One of my favorite lines in the movie, which just made me laugh so hard. He'd be like, "I'll fire you so fast you'll be out of work." Which was like, oh, I thought you were gonna say something else, but you just said the same thing twice.
Yeah.
Oh man. I just can't believe that made the cut into the movie. Does this line sound stupid to you? Nah,
it's fine.
So I'm just going to say this now. I would encourage you guys, and maybe we'll watch them at another time, to go check out some of Bobcat Goldthwait's other films.
I am not against that idea.
Yes. Yeah, no, this movie's definitely like, yeah, it's basically a student film.
But to me, a lot of this just feels like it just wasn't ready.
Yeah. And
it's I want to say half-baked, but I feel like it's like quarter-baked.
So his other films are much more fully baked, but they're also very challenging to watch. Like the one that I got introduced by him was World's Greatest Dad, which is basically about a dad who has a son who is just the worst. Like he's gross, he's misogynistic, and he just totally sucks. And so it's Robin Williams, and his son is just this worst person ever. And then his son ends up dying. And so like he just lies to everybody about how great of a son he was and all this. It's just it sort of plays with like morality. So that was like my first, like I was like, oh, this is, and then I'm like, wait, Bobcat Goldthwait, you mean the funny sounding guy from the Scrooged movie? That okay. Anyways, but yeah, no, and so I haven't seen a lot of his other stuff, but I did see, I think, was it God Bless America? That one was not as good. But yeah, it's a lot of those types of movies where you're like, do I hate this? Do I like this? I feel like it's playing a lot with convention here and there. So I don't know. I want that. Yeah, that's it. Bobcat Goldthwait is a funny name.
It is that. Absolutely.
Yeah. He had a comedy partner who was Tomcat. So it was supposed to be Bobcat and Tomcat. And then Tomcat decided he didn't want to do stand-up anymore. That's not an interesting story. Moving on.
It's something. This is... Okay, so I thought it was... Let me get back to this. Because this is in... So, from the Wikipedia page... this just feels all over to me because a sample from this movie is used in a Slipknot song.
Wait, which movie?
A sample from this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Shakes the Cloud. The song, there's an REM song called Binky the Doormat, which is reference to Binky in this movie. And then there's another song by the Bogmen, which I don't know. But it's just like, you were talking about like comedians that have this movie as like a movie that got them into comedy or something along those lines. But it's just really interesting that like...
Yeah, this is like all those like sort of alt comedy stuff that like no one, it was like the, punk rock basically that wasn't getting any airtime, because when people think comedy, they want, who's on first, that kind of stuff. And so when we started getting like basic cable in like the late 80s, 90s, and then like cable packages where like MTV could finally start, those other sort of channels, you started getting shows like Mr. Show and, I think The Kids in the Hall. No, that was a little bit later. Or The State, which were these like really short-lived comedy shows. Or even the Dana Carvey Variety Hour, which were these short-lived like sort of old comedy shows that like peaked into the into the regular world of comedy and just offended everyone's parents. And so they got, snuffed out. Anyways.
Yeah. It's just interesting because it's a movie I'd never heard of. It's now a movie I did not like. But it just seems to kind of be everywhere. Like a little bit. There's just so many random references to it.
It definitely has a cult following.
Yeah. It's a cult I don't want to join, you know what I mean? Hey.
All right, Phil, so what would you officially give this movie?
Okay. I have two, and I don't know which one is better. I'm going to give this a 1 out of 5. Angina. Pete is a man.
I was like, nah, that part was so weird.
I was so mad at it for some reason.
What is angina? Oh, a condition marked by severe pain in the chest, often spreading to the shoulders, arms, and neck, caused by an inadequate blood supply to the heart. So like
it's not a heart attack, but it's a heart attack.
Yeah,
maybe.
So she like thought he was saying vagina, like she didn't know that the word angina and vagina were different. Was that the joke?
That was the joke.
That was the joke.
She presumably has a vagina. You would think she knew how to. Whatever. Okay.
Yeah, it's. Anyways, Will, what's is this going on the Golden Movie Club? Is this a 5 out of 5 for you?
I have no idea what to get this. I think I have to be honest with this movie. I like this movie as a cultural touch point. I like all the ideas surrounding this movie. I like when people talk about it. It's just a funny movie. But yeah, no, I'm gonna give this movie. Oh boy, what am I going to give this movie? Because I'm going off of my scale now, because this movie wasn't offensive to me. It actually kind of tickled me. It didn't bore me because it definitely wasn't boring. So I think, oh man, okay. Okay, so I'm going to give this 2.5, the most terrifying clown send-offs for a TV show I've ever seen out of 5. So when they're watching in the bar and that one clown is like leaving the show on the television and it's like black and white, I'm like, oh my God. That's when I wrote down this movie is very hard to look at.
Craig, give me a rating.
I like this. Like I said, I like this better than I did when I watched it. And so I feel like I have to go a half step above Will. And I'll give this a 3 out of 5. And I can't think of anything clever because it's been so long.
Wet wigs.
I'll do the sushi out in the sun.
Or Owen cheese.
I'm gonna try and use that sushi line. I think that is a genuinely really, really good line.
This movie really reminds me of another movie or a couple I've seen. I just can't think of them right now. Like stuff I would have watched when I was a kid without being obviously this movie or something.
You know what this feels
lateral.
like? This is, you know what this is like our version of the early, like, not YouTube, but like Newgrounds or whatever, or E-Bombs World. Was that one of them?
Yeah.
Like
Oh, God.
shows that like, not like shows like the Salad Finger Guy. Do you remember that? That like
Yeah.
people would show each other in like middle school and high school and stuff. And half the people you showed it to would just be like, what is wrong with you? Why would you show me this? And then 1 out of 5 would just like be laughing hysterically because they just like totally get it. And that's what I think this was in the 90s. You know, this was that movie where you like, oh, you got to see Shakes the Clown, and you put it in, people be like, oh, this is awful. And then other people would watch and be like, I've never seen something as funny as this or as crazy as this, you know.
I feel like this is one of those movies we would have watched like late high school, early college.
Yeah.
With my friends, and we would have thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, this is definitely a movie I feel like if I this is where I would have done a hipster thing where if I had discovered it, I would have told all my friends to see it, and only Mike Leisha would have liked it.
Yeah.
But if it was a movie that like
That feels right.
Ryan Isepi and John Havenhill never stopped talking about, and or any other group of friends, it would be like, oh, I hate this movie. This isn't that funny at all. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I know exactly what you mean. For sure.
So,
all right, so that was a movie.
Yep.
So we're gonna go ahead and click the random button.
Phil, you might want to explain what you're pretending to do right now.
Oh, it looks like Craig gets to pick the next
Oh,
movie.
what do you know?
Craig, do you have
yes.
a movie picked?
Yes.
Is it Shakes the Clown again? Because I
no.
will quit.
Oh, please make it Shakes. Please make it Shakes the Clown.
Yeah. So, as I said before, this is complete opposite direction of Shakes the Clown. We're going to watch a foreign language film.
Interesting.
It is Italian, and it is called
Oh, God.
Cinema Paradiso.
Okay. Interesting choice.
Will you have a look on your face?
Okay.
This is one of those films that every insufferable person in my film class talked about.
Sorry.
And I actually just realized, like, as I was making the face, I realized, like, hold on. I haven't a clue what this movie is. Because I definitely have heard of it, and I realize that's all I've heard. It's like when people talk about like classical music, and they're like, "Oh, this is Beethoven, Mozart," and you're like, "Yeah, I don't like Beethoven and Mozart." And you're like, "Do you know any Beethoven or Mozart?" And you're like, "Actually, other than the da 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 da, no, I don't know any." It's just like you just assume it's pretentious because it's within a pretentious sounding conversation. So, no.
Yeah.
How long is it? That's actually my bigger worry.
So here's the thing.
It looks long.
Here's
There's
the thing.
2 versions.
There's 2 versions. I've watched the director's cut, which is like
3 hours.
It's about 3 hours.
173 minutes long.
So I'm not going to make you guys do that.
Okay.
And I'd like to watch the regular version this time. So that's only 2 hours.
How can people watch this if they want to watch it?
You can. So this one, they will have to rent on Amazon, but it is there to rent, or you can check your local library, as I often do.
Hey, we have a library card. We just might do that.
Nice.
A whole one?
Well, I guess technically we both have one.
So 2? Wow. Some people
So
don't
2.
get any library cards.
Oh, you know what? I said that, and then I just realized I do not own a thing to watch physical media on, so
Oh, yeah.
gonna have to stream it. I'm living in the future, and it's a drag.
Will, you can come over to my house and hold my hand.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh.
We'll do it on our way back from the apple orchard, which we are definitely going to together this weekend.
Yes, we are.
You're breaking my heart right now. I want to do both of those things.
I don't feel bad for you.
That's fine.
Yeah. You're like, I'll just climb this mountain, whatever. I'm like, all right.
It's like just like changed my 5th dirty diaper for the day, and this one was a blowout.
Yep.
And Phil's like, look at this thing that I'm doing in my easy breezy life. There's a guy who can't breathe because there's not enough air.
There is not. I get winded so fast.
Oh boy.
Have you hit your oxygen allotment for the day? Oh, Phil.
Oh, sorry. I got a bonus allotment.
Good.
I don't have much though, so I'm going to choose my words carefully.
Right. Okay.
Probably. I guess.
So that'll be next week. We're gonna watch this movie in Italian.
Oh boy.
Came out very strange.
When you say next week, you mean our next episode in 2 weeks. Our bi-monthly, biannually.
No, it's our bi-monthly, bi-weekly. It's both bi-weekly, bi-monthly.
Yes.
Sure. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay, done, produced, or occurring every 2 weeks or twice a week.
How is it both?
Ew.
Bi-monthly.
I'm
done,
so
produced, or
upset.
occurring twice a month or every 2 months. The English language is trash.
Okay, Phil, I can do this. Thank you for liking and subscribing to the podcast. We're on Instagram and Facebook. If you want to tell us how wrong we are in our opinions about Shakes the Clown and how it's actually
no, I don't want to hear
the best movie and it's so funny.
No, I don't welcome that.
Don't slide into Phil's DMs and tell him.
No, please don't do that.
This episode was brought to you by Janet Chodas, who's my mother. Thanks, Mom. If you are interested in hearing your name shouted out on the podcast and supporting us, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/mumbleandtrug.
If you like what you heard, consider leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Play, or my Facebook wall. That's all for this episode. I'm Phil Kessel.
I'm Will Chodas.
And I'm Craig Norland.
Don't watch Shakes the Clown. Dear God, don't do it.
Watch it. Watch it while eating greasy pizza.
Don't. I'm gonna...
Movies with My Best Friend Phil is brought to you by Mumble and Shrug Productions, the creators of very serious video production for very serious clients. This episode was recorded and edited by Will Chodas. Research provided by Phil Kessel and Craig Norland. Cover art was designed by Will Chodas and Phil Kessel provided likeness. For more content like this, visit mumbleandtrug.com.
Alfredo! Sì. Puoi partire.
Brought to you by Mumble and Shrug Productions.